What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So today's guest was actually a celly of another guest I had on this channel and did an interview with. So he reached out to me. He's like, hey, bro, you interviewed my celly. And he's done a lot of years in prison, so he's got a lot of crazy stories. So we're going to get into that today. If you're new and you're tuning in, man, do your boy a solid. Hit that subscribe button and turn your post notifications on. So every time I drop an episode, you'll get a notification. So, man, why don't you go ahead and just tell the people your name and where you're from?
My name's Dave. I'm from Delaware, the state of Delaware. I did time in Delaware. My first time was September 29th, 1985. I went to jail, and Delaware is not like Pennsylvania where I did most of my time. Delaware is a state. If you weren't a big person, a big physically big, you would get taken advantage of. And that's because some people actually wanted to be taken advantage of in there. No, seriously, man.
I know, bro.
really needed that contact. But state of Delaware. I was in Gander Hill in Wilmington, Delaware for a number of years. Then they transferred me to Smyrna, Delaware back in the mid-90s.
How old were you at this time?
I was in my early 20s. I was 23.
How old were you when you went to prison for the first time?
1985. I went to jail. I think I was 15, 16. I got caught with, let's just say, things that go boom.
Okay.
Now you're called a terrorist if you get caught with them. Back then, when I was a kid, they were just, he's just being a boy.
So what was the longest stint that you've done in prison, like from,
18 years, 3 months, 1 day straight.
In Pennsylvania?
In Pennsylvania. I lived in Chester County, PA for a while. Then I had an addiction. I'm not the only one. Mine was cocaine.
What was it like for you going to prison, man? Like, explain to the people what that was like for you.
It was a culture shock. Delaware versus Pennsylvania. I haven't met that many religious people in Delaware than I did in Pennsylvania. It was a culture shock because I've never met a Muslim before in my life. I mean, the state of Delaware.
You're a Muslim?
No. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I never met one when I was in Delaware.
So you're saying what in Pennsylvania? You're saying in Pennsylvania. You're saying in Pennsylvania that there's a lot of Muslims that are in prison. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's predominantly Muslim, and it's not a bad thing. In life you got assholes on both sides of the pile. White, black, or candy straight. But for me, I wasn't raised to know religion. It was just a culture shock when I got there. I met some really, really good people that I've heard some really horror stories. It was different from Delaware. When I went to Camp Hill, they ran on the bus, and like you see in the movies, they scream at you, and they berate you and belittle you and make you feel worse than you already do to begin with.
Now, when you went into prison in Pennsylvania, like, how did that work for you? Did you run with anyone? Like, did you have to fight when you went in? Like, I know there was a while back, so I know things were different back then.
When I went in 2002, I was asked in the state of Delaware to become this or become that. And I never wanted to be associated with a group of individuals that if you can't stand, I understand strength in numbers. I get that. I'm not knocking that once. But if you can't stand on your own, how are you going to stand as a group? And my dad raised me that way, to stand on your own and don't depend on others, because the only person that's going to do for you is you.
I see where you're coming from, but in prison, that means that you're rocking solo, and that at times can be a rough road too, man. So, like, did you have any issues when you decided to rock like that?
Not really, because at that time I was pushing about 400 pounds.
Okay, well, I bench 400 right now, and I get tried. So that shit don't mean nothing.
At the beginning of my sentence, I really didn't care. I actually was so depressed, I was trying to commit suicide through means of commissary and tobacco and other things. It was very dark.
What do you mean you were suicidal with Commissary. What do you mean? Like, you know, using it
I
for
went
money?
in at 240 and blew up to 400.
So you were 400 pounds, what, benching 400?
No, I was a 400-pound man. Dude, I'm a big guy, bro. I mean,
yeah, maybe it's the camera angle, man. I could tell you're a heavier dude, man, but damn, 400, bro.
Yeah, I was 400 pounds at the time. I was 397 when
you
I
were
came
not
up from the
comfortable. You weren't comfortable in prison, were you?
No, I was wearing a 7X. I was that big. This is still a state of Pennsylvania DOC shirt. I've only been out since November.
All right, so that's what you meant then when you meant bigger. Because I'm thinking like 250 solid, you know, on the weight pile repping shit. But you're on another level, 400. So yeah, you're not gonna get tried too much. Especially if you're carrying yourself like you're rocking that 400 too.
Well, see, I learned about prison through Delaware. You don't look in people's cell unless you're looking to fuck or fight or steal. And you know, you respect the next man. You know, if you got beef, you go handle it, you know, behind closed doors. Now, if you want to take the how we call it, the lockup method, you get and fight right so the cops can save you. Yeah, that's called Captain Save-A-Ho. Captain Save-A-Ho comes saves everybody. Yeah, you know, you get in a fight and they're going to be there in like 30 seconds. So you get about 9 punches or a few stabs in, and you know, I didn't do no stabbing inside.
That was actually going to be my next question. So you're 400, man. You're in Pennsylvania prison. Like, how are you rocking, man? Like, how are you doing your time? Are you under the radar? Are you making moves? You shaking shit? Like, how'd you do your time in prison?
At first, I was quiet. I kept my head down. I got into with some fellas that weren't into selling swag sandwiches out of the. Normally when I got to Camp Hill, I stayed at Camp Hill for 6 months. In 6 months, they classify you, and I'm close to the state of Delaware. Well, the lady classified me, asked me about my time. I told her how I felt about my time. She got upset, and I told her don't get her panties in a bunch. So. She shipped me all the way out west. So when I get there, it was a 17-hour bus ride in the box.
Black box?
Yeah, the black box, the good old inmate version. But when I got there, it was a totally different world, foreign, dark. All the sodium lights were on. It's nothing I've seen from where I'm from. After I got seeing some of the people, I was in a maximum security penitentiary called SCI Green.
I'm kind of confused. So you were in prison in Delaware, then you went to prison in Pennsylvania, then you're in prison in Pennsylvania, and now you're getting shipped to Delaware?
No. There was a time and period when I did a lot of time in Delaware, in and out.
I know, but I want to talk about your 18 years. I don't want to.
When I got locked up in 2002, they classify you. You get classified. You go to camp. You get your inmate number. That was at Graterford. Then they ship you to Camp Hill, SCI Camp Hill. That's where they classify you.
Okay, so you're like in reception centers at this time.
Right. Then they shipped me to SCI Green all the way out near West Virginia. And that's where I did over 17 years there. I got kicked out of there, went to another jail, got kicked out of there, went to another jail.
But when did you land in prison?
2002, July of 2002.
I know, but you're saying you're getting kicked out of jail to jail.
Well,
when you in prison at this point?
Yeah, I'm still in prison. When I mean kicked out of a jail, you get put under investigation. Bureau of Intelligence comes in. They question you. You get fucking smuggled out or fucking hightailed it out with a high security team, and they put you in another state prison.
But why were they doing that with you? I don't get it.
Well, I got caught. They said I had $32,000 worth of K2, but there was another I got the paperwork in my fucking record center box to prove what I'm telling you.
How long you been out of prison, man?
I got out November 17th of last year.
All right, so you're fresh out. All right, I just wanted to so the people watching knew. I forgot to ask you that.
I didn't even know how Zoom worked. My girlfriend had to show me how to do Zoom.
But $32,000 worth of Tucci K2?
Yeah, it was soaked in carfentanil. Not fentanyl, but carfentanil. It's a little kick in the ass.
All right, man. Well, let's talk about that because that is a big thing, man, in the whole United States prison is the K2 you know, bro, it's an epidemic and people are dying. So how does that happen, bro? How does somebody watch somebody smoke K2, die?
Well, Chris Kennedy, your boy, Beebs, the first time he smoked it in the cell with me, he went blind with his eyes open.
All right, so this is a guy that I interviewed in a previous.
Yeah, he'll back me up if you call him right now and get us on a thing. He'll back me up that motherfucker went blind the first 2 hits of deuce. Sitting on the stool in the cell, and I was laughing too hard. I was bowling. I thought it was funnier than fucking, I tell you. But I've seen people wheeled out of the yard.
So you're in the cell with Chris. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
And he hits the Tucci, and then he goes blind.
Yep, with his eyes wide open. I'm blind. He was like this. I'm blind. I started laughing. Listen, I'm not innocent. I mean, I smoked too. I was a fiend like a motherfucker. You know, once they took the tobacco and the lighters, we're using batteries and sewing needles to get.
Well, how do you have $32,000 worth of Tucci, but you're a fiend?
More than that, but security took 14 pages, gave me the case for 16. Then when the Bureau of Investigation comes in, tries to give me street charges, I take the case. I pled guilty to everything. Okay.
In prison
in prison, but there's 14 pages of deuce missing out of the fucking evidence bag. I didn't take it. I'm in the fucking hole.
So where'd they find the Tucci at?
It came through the mail.
They busted it in the mailroom at the prison?
No, see, in Pennsylvania a few years ago, good old Governor Wolf and the fucking Secretary of Corrections got this great idea to send all the Pennsylvania mail to Florida to get scanned and have it electronically sent back to Pennsylvania. Cost Pennsylvania taxpayers millions of dollars. Millions. I'm talking somebody's pockets.
How much?
Millions, like 5 million. Look it up. It's public record.
Billions.
Billions. But what it was is people were sending it through the mail. So I looked at their memo they passed out after the mail got shut down for a couple weeks. Then you had to start getting your pictures through the mail and stuff like that. They passed out a memo, and it just popped off like a blueprint to me to how to get it in with their memo.
All right, man. So you're in prison. They pop you with $32,000 worth of K2, right? Or whatever they did. It's a lot of shit you got caught for.
There was 16 pages. There was 30 pages that would come in, but they took 14 and left me with 16. I had the confiscation slips and everything, the write-ups, the fucking report from the hearing examiner. I got everything.
All right, man. So let me ask you this, man, because in Florida, if I'm a neutron in the state of Florida, which is I'm not affiliated for anybody that doesn't know, there's no way that I'm moving $32,000 worth of K2 on a compound not being affiliated. Like that just isn't going to happen. How did you move to be able to make that happen?
Listen, I was a trash guy. I would walk around on the compound while everybody's going back and forth to chow, or, you know, I'd be out there when movement was going on with a pocket full of sticks. And at the time we were allowed tobacco, kites, or Midnight Express or Top, however, you know, little pack. $5 a pop. I'd be out there hustling. I'd go to the yard. I'd go out there and hustle. You know, that was the thing. It was cat.
But nobody put no pressure on you? Because in Florida, they would have like, yo, let's check me out real quick, dog. You're fitting to pay some shit. Like you're paying at least like, you know, a percentage or something. Like that's just crazy, man. But it's just crazy how different states are.
Well, see, it's the mentality. It's also your environment. Where I was at, it wasn't like the whites stayed with the whites, the blacks stayed with the blacks, Latinos stayed with the Latinos. It was kind of a mixed bag, you know? And when I went to the hole in 2009 for a fight, which I used a combination lock, running down a tier with it. I went to the hole for 2 months, and I go to the yard, and there's 4 dudes with boobs in the yard. I'm like, what the fuck happened? There was no dudes with boobs in the whole prison ever. ever in the whole time from '02 until I got out of the hole in 2010. I said, holy fuck, there's tits in the yard. And we had white t-shirts back in the day. Well, they took the white t-shirts because the fucking,
sick, man.
because the shims, I call them shims, you know, part man, part woman, shim. You know, like a shim in a window, a shim. Anyway, there's dudes with boobs. Then they started selling makeup, bras, panties on the fucking commissary in a man's prison. Then they started letting them wear. Dude,
they sold bras?
I did. I was like, holy fuck. And
they sold bras on Canteen, bro?
Lipstick, eyeliner.
What?
Panties.
Bro, what the fuck you guys got going on up there, man?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, there's a thing called a homo thug.
Yeah, I know what they're like. There's a lot of them in prison.
Yeah, you know, he's a tough guy. I met Bubba one time in there, and I was like, holy shit, I'm staying away from that dude. Give him a wide berth. But see, you didn't have to be with the same people when you went to yard. It was the same blocks, and there was a lot of violence. I've seen riots in the yard, stabbings, slicings, robbings.
Did anybody else get knocked off with you when you got knocked off for the K2?
I was the only one that I know of that went under. They stuck me in the RA. What happened was the package came in on a Thursday. I go over to pick it up. The regular officers weren't there. These new guys were. So I go in and get it. They open it up. They don't give it to me. They actually look in the package. It looks like a deck of playing cards. You know what a deck of playing cards sounds like?
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like. And they were like, yeah, you can't have this. We're confiscating it.
But you were doing the Tucci too, though, when you were selling it, right?
Of course.
What was the crazy experience that you had on that shit? Because I've seen a lot of crazy shit.
I would go to sleep at night, right after count, wake up about 2:30 and start smoking my brains out. I mean, I'm dead serious. I'd start smoking my brains out.
What does that mean? Like a joint?
Well, you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would make them about kind of long.
Is that Tucci?
No, that's weed. I'm a licensed medical marijuana card holder.
All right, that's another episode. But so you're just laying back 2:30 in the morning,
smoking, and then
faded.
And listen, the security would call. The security came on the block and raided the boy's cell. The next thing you know, they're in Tyvek suits, and I'm freaking out.
Is this real, or is this all in your head?
This is real. The worst one I've ever saw was a buddy of mine. I sold it to him, and he almost died in the yard by smoking it. He is an older fella. They brought him back to life with CPR. Shabaka, who was his name. I'll put him out there. Shabaka. I sold this stuff to somebody else, and he gave it to him, and he was an older gentleman, did about 40 years straight, and he smoked it and went out. He think he had a heart attack.
Did that affect you, like knowing that you could have killed that dude?
Yeah, it did. When he came back out of the hospital, I told him, I said, I'll never do that to you again. Never. I can't bring that to my conscience. I've done a lot of bad stuff, but after 3 heart attacks and 2 heart surgeries in prison, you get to come to Jesus meeting. And this is my second chance at life. And, you talk about living good life and being responsible and respectable. They say it's hard. It ain't hard. You just got to want it, and I want this. And I've been doing good, man. I'm employed. Own 2 vehicles.
That's what's up, bro. What would you say, man, out of your whole time doing time, and you've done a lot, obviously, 18's a lot of fucking time, was the worst experience that you went through behind bars?
Watching a buddy of mine get beat by 3 COs and getting his arm and shoulder broke because they didn't like a towel being on the end of a bunk. And they came in there and he beat them so bad, they crawled out of the cell. But when the security team came to extract them, they handcuffed him, and I just watched them beat him. I call them forever lasting hickey sticks.
That's crazy, man, that you said the towel on the end of the bunk, because when I first started to make this channel, it was shit like that made me want to make the channel. Because people don't realize just hanging your towel at a certain time of the day with a certain officer working at the end of your bunk can turn it into a fucking, like what your homeboy went through. And that shit used to drive me fucking crazy when I was in there.
I spent an extra 1.5 years in prison because I had a cellie that I thought kind of gave me up.
Not Chris, right?
No. This is
Okay.
No. I was supposed to get a package, X amount of Suboxone strips, and they were N4s instead of N8s. Your audience will know what I'm talking about. So I passed on the N4s. The very next day, I get raided by 5 COs. The only thing they take out of my cell is my marriage certificate, 2 guitar magazines, an extra T-shirt, and a broken antenna, and a Visine bottle. So anyway, they took.
Well, what's all that? What is that? Do you agree with me?
For the grace of God, I was up at 4:30 in the morning looking at him, trying to figure out how to put a noose around his neck, pull him off the bunk, and make him look like he killed himself. Seriously, that's the thoughts that go in my head when I'm in the cell and I'm pissed off at somebody. Not how to stab him, how to make it look like a suicide and not get implicated.
So what'd you end up doing to the guy?